Hi everybody, welcome to another YouTube video here at the upholstery shop. I want to show today how to apply GIMP. It's called GIMP, G-I-M-P, or braiding or trim. Some people call it a trimming. But I just want to show you, these chairs are authentic French chairs, so the customer was concerned about keeping it as authentic as possible, and originally they had a French GIMP, which is a little bit more intricate than this, a little bit more costly too. But she chose a scroll GIMP, which is fine. It goes great with the fabric. But there are at least 4 different ways you can put trim that you can use. One would be the scroll GIMP, one would be the French GIMP, one would be nails, one would be nails with GIMP, and the other would be double welt. I think I gave you a few more, at least one more way of doing it. But anyhow, nails would be out of the question on this job because these are too old and you don't want to jeopardize. So I'm giving you the choices of why we reckon how I came to this. This is what I'm trying to do. And I want to show you how I dressed the chair up in order to take this on. So she couldn't find a GIMP. A French GIMP would have been best that really matched the fabric. So she went to the scroll and she found a good match. So that's how we ended up with this. And this is a very light treatment. We're not going to be hammering. If we might do a little tapping with the hammer, but not a lot of tapping like you would with a French nail. So we make these choices depending on how old the piece is sometimes, and that's the case here. I just want to show you a couple of things before I get going on another decision-making process that we had. Now these are really the recess, the back here is the recessed back, which is a real sign of quality and how old they are. There's no GIMP going on here. So what I did on the panel here is actually I rolled it under, and you could do that if you don't have a lot of padding on a piece. It's the only time you could do that. And the reason I do that is because even if you have a razor, sometimes I don't like using razors, but I actually had to use it in this case because the fabric is so thick. My scissors weren't doing a good job getting it really close to the staple. So that's why I did it up here. I folded it. It's a lot cleaner, and you have a better line to go by when you glue, and you'll see that in a minute. So the other decision that I make that you guys should, before you start, you should know there's 6 of these, so they're all ready to go. Sometimes you run your trim, sometimes people run their trim around the post. I would say that if you can avoid that, do it. Sometimes you can't because you're using a lightweight fabric and the cut, it maybe have cut a little too close and you need to cover it. Oftentimes you'll see GIMP going around a post as a way of covering up a cut or fabric that didn't really tuck in, like this fabric really tucked in. So I'm not going to bring it around. It is a problem sometimes bringing GIMP around. If you guys have ever done it, you'll know. I'm not going to do it on this because I want a clean look. Okay, so I don't need to because we got some really good cuts with the fabric. Okay, so there's a couple of examples of before you even start the dressing up process. So now I'm going to give you some tips on how to apply the GIMP. So one thing that you might not think about right away is, depending on if you're right-handed or left-handed, it really is important how you start. I like to work from the right to the left as a right-handed person. Usually lefties like to start the other way. So that's important because you want to feel really comfortable before you approach this. You want to be clean. You want the table to be clean. So starting over here is just, for a right-handed person, is a lot easier working from the right to the left. Okay, so the things that you want to make sure that you have, obviously you want to have your GIMP, right? Have that to my left. You want your regulator or a needle, an extra glue stick, your scissors, and a tack hammer or any type of hammer that's small, because you're going to be doing some tapping. So let's get started. Okay, make sure that the head of your glue gun is clean. Usually I just, if you want to have a piece of fabric around, sometimes I advise that because once in a while you want to clean off the head of the glue gun. Okay, you don't want extra glue messing around with you. So I'm going to start right here. Now watch how I start. I'm going to take the end of my GIMP. I'm going to just get a little dab of glue there, and I am going to hold it like that. Now, this glue is coming out hot. I have calluses upon calluses, so I didn't even feel that because it's on my fingers. I would advise you, if you're not calloused, if you're callus challenged, make sure that you have an extra piece of fabric handy so that you can wipe away really quick. Sometimes when people don't have anything to wipe glue that they've got their finger on, they're hesitant, and by the time that you hesitate, you've already burnt yourself. So make sure that you have a place to, in this case, if I didn't have that fabric, I would just go like this if it hurt. So just, the little tips. And what I want to do is I'm going to dress up the chair now, and I'm going to put a little bit of an angle like that with the chair. See? I only went about an inch. So I recommend putting the hot glue on the chair, not on the GIMP. I'll tell you why I do that, because if you notice how porous the GIMP is, scroll GIMP is more porous than French GIMP. So you see these little subtleties, you guys, right? So if you put the glue on your GIMP, and sometimes you have to do that in certain areas. I don't think I'm going to have to do that anywhere on this. I understand that. But what happens is it permeates through, it comes through onto the other side. It's really hard to get rid of glue. You can take a cleaner and get rid of it, but it's a lot easier doing this. I'm going to glue this. I'm going to go about, and look what I'm doing with the head of the gun as I'm squeezing the trigger. I'm spreading the glue out, but I'm not spreading the glue over where my GIMP is going to go, right? It's only about, it's contained within the GIMP, and so what happens is that when you push down, and some people like to take their tack hammer and just go like this to seal the deal, it will spread a little bit, and so you've got full coverage. If you do full coverage first and put the GIMP on, you're going to have seepage, so you don't want that, because seepage is hard to get rid of. Of course, that's why we have the regulator waiting in hand. So far, I'm happy I didn't need to use my regulator, so let's see how lucky I am. Make sure that when you take it from the scroll, you're not fighting the scroll too, and I don't want to pre-cut them, because usually you waste a lot of GIMP when you do that. I always work from the scroll. But make sure it's loose. You don't want that to interfere with your job. Okay, so notice how I'm just going to be spreading that out. And I got 1001, 1002, 1003 before my glue dries. Okay, now if you're freaked out about that, if you're new and you're worried about that 3 seconds, don't take as much like I did. So I'm gonna show you. If you're a beginner, just dab a little bit, about an inch, right? Put your glue gun down. So what happens a lot of times with people when they're using the glue gun, okay, they're looking down, they're placing their glue gun, making sure they go like this, and by the time they get up here, their glue is dry. So you really need to focus right here with your eyes, because if you wait, it won't make a good adhesive. So it won't adhere. So make sure that you have a space. This is why you want to make sure your space is clean when you do this type of thing, and so I just, the reason I say this is because I didn't even look when I sometimes I throw the gun down, to be honest with you, because I'm so focused in here, and sometimes the gun needs to be replaced because of that. But I'll demonstrate what happens when you take too long, okay? So let's just go another, like a couple of inches. That's 1,002. So what happens is people put their gun down here, they'll adjust the chair, and they'll do something else, look at the clock or whatever. By that time, it really is almost too late. Okay, so it's the 3 seconds. So 1001, 1002, 1003. Some people go 4. Depends. And then now when you get to a corner, you might be wondering, how does it get around the corner? In the old days, what they used to do is they used to miter like that. Okay? You see that a lot. That's the disadvantage to a firmer trim, like the French trim, by the way, because you almost would have to miter the French trim. So I don't like the mitering. I really don't. I don't like that. Too bulky. So what I do is, this is very important, you guys, preform the corner. See that? I just preform the corner before you glue it, right? So now it's used to taking the turn. Do it before you glue it. Now watch, when you glue it, don't go too far. Just do the corner. Right, hold your finger there, and just like that. See that? Now, I got more glue on my fingers, so it's really important for you guys just starting to be cautious with the glue on these. And that's another thing I want to mention on your glue gun. Make sure that you have an industrial glue gun, or a gun that has 2 settings. And you always want to go to the high setting. The low setting sometimes doesn't do as good a job. Look at how nice this is, you guys. It's not going to go anywhere. That's going to be on there for a long time. So let's go around here. I'm going to go around our pleats. Sometimes, you know, because we have more fabric, I'll show you in a minute, let's just get it right to there. We take our hammer and just give it a little tapping, and might even want to tap the pleats down while I'm at it, right? Sometimes a staple sticking out after you gimp it down, you could take it and hit it down. I already had one on another chair that was sticking out, and I hammered it down. So I didn't preform the corner on that one, but it's just as effective. See that? Doesn't that look nicer than the miter? All right, let me just. Stuff has some flexibility, some good flexibility that other trims don't have. That's probably a good thing about the scroll. I know that it's kind of boring compared to some trims. Okay, so now I got an example where I have some peeking through here. That's what you need your regulator for, just to tuck that in there, right? See that? How nice that is. Ran out of glue, so I have my glue stick. Put this one in and continue gluing. Gonna go nice with the wood. Nice. Sometimes you have pieces. This piece was really nice. It trimmed up nice, and there wasn't any extra material in there like from the old jobs. You want to go just a little bit over on the edge of the gimp onto the wood. Sometimes that helps hide a lot of imperfections in the wood. This one was in pretty good shape then. There's little tricks to this that you'll learn on your own maybe. Appreciate you guys watching. I know a lot of you guys are subscribers. Thank you. And for people who aren't subscribed, please feel free to subscribe and get all of our new videos. And we have many videos, and we're really proud of the YouTube channel that we have. We hope that we deliver a decent product. It's a lot of work, but we feel it's worth it. Get to this one. I'm going to slow down. I'm going to get to this side in a minute. Let me just want to show you right here. So I preformed that first one. On this one here, let's just try it without preforming it. Let's just go. Don't really slow it down. I'm going to glue, not too much because of, and then we kind of, what I do, I kind of kink that up and then push in. You see that? Look how nice that is. Isn't that beautiful? And I really do like the way it matches the fabric. It has that two-tone look, this scroll. A lot of times you don't get, on any gimp, you don't get this close. And the thing about gimp is, which is actually a good thing, you don't, usually fading is a bad thing on fabrics. But on gimp, fading tends to, the colors usually are vibrant, so fading on the gimp tends to, it lends itself to the fabric over time. It's weird how that happens, but it's true. So I think in this case, if this was a little bit faded, it would probably go better with the fabric. Same coloring, but a little faded. Not a bad thing. So when you think about gimp, you have a gimp chart with maybe 50 gimps, 50 different colors. And when you realize fabrics come in tens of thousands of different colors, you can see that there could be a problem, right? So you're never going to get on a gimp. You're never going to get a perfect match. You're always going to be some shades off. So now we got the back. So before I picked this a little cleaner than this maybe, just the cotton that's sticking out. So we're on the back now. I did my little fold over, ready to go, and just a little bit. No, even I don't go too far in the beginning, right? You see how it's sticking out there a little bit? Take your hammer before it glues, before it gets dry, and see how that kind of fell into place there. And then I take my regulator. Tuck that in. Almost done with the bottom. Spreading the glue. I'm not putting it on. I'm not. See what I'm doing with spreading it. Some people don't realize that when you put a bead, you probably wonder, why isn't he just putting the bead on here? Well, because when you go to push this in, it'll bleed through. So I'm trying to prevent that, and I don't think I saw one bleed through with my technique, not one. And like I said, it's a real pain when that happens. It's hard to clean that. So see, I'm spreading that. How do you learn all this stuff? Well, you watch the YouTube channel and you subscribe. You want to talk about tips, the online classes. I hate to bring it up because those are paid classes. But they have so many more tips because I know I mentioned this many times, but the students are asking the right questions as they're upholstering that you would be asking. You're probably asking questions now that, of course, I can't answer. But I'm trying to answer your questions as I'm going along. But you'd be surprised how much we're so mechanical in what we do when we get to these levels, these high levels of craftsmanship, that we don't think about it a lot. We just do it, which is one of the problems. Transferring information, right, guys? I'm sure you all have had experience on other YouTube channels that didn't give you all the information. I know I have left out certain information, not on purpose, not to be mean, but they just did it, and you're left sometimes wondering. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the back of the chair. So for you guys who are used to the glue gun by now and you're a little bit more advanced, I would like to see you work this way. Now it's a little bit awkward. You probably, for you guys who aren't as advanced, you might want to just keep the chair down like this. The disadvantage to keeping the chair down like that is that you're not seeing the gimp lay down as you truly would after you're done with the chair upright. I hope that makes sense to you. So I always want to work like this because that's how my customers are going to be looking this way. They're not going to be looking down like this at the chair. So that's why, and that's very important. But some people are really nervous at this point around the top of to get glue on their fabric, especially if it was a velvet, right? Well, I don't know if you guys ever got hot glue on a velvet, but forget about it, right? So I'm going to dab this a little bit and then fold this, and then I'm going to get my middle point here, right about there, and I'm going to dab about an inch and a half or so. So I'm a little excited on this one because all they got is nice soft curves, which is going to be great for my gimp, right? So we don't have to worry too much. So I'm going to just load up here. Be very careful you don't drip any, and I'm just going to try to go all the way around the corner with this one. This is a long way. I got 3 seconds, right? Let's just get that. See if we can. Oh, did I go too far? I might have been pushing the envelope with this one, you guys. Okay, see how I have I don't like this little piece that doesn't have glue. So I'm going to go back in there very carefully, and I'm going to dip a little glue in there, and then make sure I have my regulator, because now I get some seepage. See, you only have a certain amount of time to take care of all these things, and voila, there we go. Now because I'm nearing the end here, I was going to cut the scroll gimp, but I already told you not to do that. So around curves, I guess I'm going to not be as daring as how long I take there. Should we pull it or should we? Let's pull it. Sometimes that's dangerous. Now I think I can cut this from my scroll. Put that over there. So head of the gun likes to get cotton and everything stuck to it, so make sure every once in a while that you clean it off. So I'm going to glue to about only about 2 inches away from the end there. I'm going to stop right there, and then I'm going to cut this with only about a 1/2 of an inch that's going to wrap under. So that's how I know how much to put it under, right? So we're going to dab this, fold this about a 1/2 of an inch, and before I glue it I'll just check it to make sure I'm where I need to be. Is that right? And we're going to take the rest of the glue, almost done. Sure you go all the way to the end with the glue. And the two should meet, they should butt up pretty good, and then you take your hammer to give it the final little. If you do a good job, you won't even be able to tell sometimes. I can't tell. Camera might be able to, but I can't with my own eye tell that. I see a little thing up here that I'm going to adjust. See how this came out here a little bit? It's not at the edge. Sometimes you could take your regulator and move the gimp just a little. There you go. See that? And then you're going to go over the whole thing with your gimp. Do your hand first to get rid of all those little stringies, and then anything that you see, you know, as far as threading or anything that's coming out, then you use your regulator. But that's it. I think we did a great job. So here we go. I hope you learned some new tips with this, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.